All right. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited that you guys are here participating in this masterclass for tonight. I'm really excited to be teaching you how, a few really simple ways that you can start healing your body, where you can activate your body's natural self-healing process and reduce some stress. A lot of us think that living a life of no stress is really, really hard, or living a life with less stress is really, really, really hard. And we develop all of these ways to avoid managing the stress, but masking a lot of the challenges that stress can often bring, and a lot of the health challenges that too much stress, chronic stress can start to that can develop in our body as a result. So stress management, my goal for you guys for this masterclass is that by the end, you have some really solid, super simple ways to manage your stress, your everyday stress. I'm also going to share with you how to activate your body's natural self-healing process. Your body has an incredible capacity to heal itself, but there's so many things that can get in the way of that. So what are those things, right? What are the things that can impede our body's natural healing process? And what can we do to really support our body through this process? So that is my goal for you guys today. Okay, the goal, this is a hands-on session. We are going to really, I want you guys to experience a shift in your stress during this session. So please stay till the end, because I promise you, you will learn something today that you will be able to immediately put into your everyday life to support your body, to reduce your stress and support your body. So I have found that there are a few different types of people. So does this sound like you? You have a fairly consistent self-care routine, but you're still struggling with stress, overwhelm, or pain in your body. Maybe you're somebody who dabbles in self-care and stress management. So you know a lot of different ways to help yourself manage your stress and take care of yourself, but you're having a hard time being consistent, and commitment is a challenge. I have definitely been in that category for a long time throughout my life. Or you know a lot of ways to manage your stress and emotions, and you have a few really awesome tools, but you're having a hard time actually implementing them. So you're stuck in that learn mode. Again, I have been there many, many times, and it's not such a great place to be. If you're here, I know that you're really interested in stress management and healing, and you want to do this the right way. It's a way that works for you, but you don't want to struggle and be overwhelmed by learning all the things, because there's so many different ways that we can do this. Maybe you're tired of being in pain and being dismissed and overlooked because nothing looks wrong, right? I had over a year of personal challenges with so many different doctors and specialists saying, there's nothing wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. Everything is checking out fine. We can't figure out what's going on. So maybe that sounds like you, and you're frustrated. Maybe you're just overwhelmed with trying to figure out all the puzzle pieces, and you want that clear path. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dawn Pensack. I am the founder of the Holistic Sisterhood community. I have been an EFT practitioner for about 4 years now. I've worked with over 100 people, helping them manage trauma, manage emotional challenges, and manage physical pain. Okay, since you're here and you set aside this hour, please make sure that you commit to paying close attention. You can put your cell phone to the side, you can flip it upside down so you don't see the notifications, but please make sure that you commit to taking this hour for you. So many moms, right? We're always multitasking. We've always got our hands in so many different things, and we're very used to putting ourselves last, but we have to change that. So make sure you put aside this time for you. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat window. I'm not sure that I'll be able to see them during the presentation, so you guys can just unmute if you have a question and let me know, or pop it in the chat and I'll definitely make sure that I answer that at the end. My goal for tonight is that you walk away with at least one thing that you can start doing right now that's going to put you on the path for reducing the stress in your life and really supporting your body in a huge, huge way. And I want you to make this work for you, because the best stress management is the one that you do on a consistent basis. Okay, when you release stress, you can live a much happier, healthier life. One thing that's always so shocking to me is that over 90% of all illness and disease has a major component that's stress related. When we're holding on to too much stress in the body, our cortisol is high, which definitely interferes with our body's ability to digest. So a lot of times we're stuck in the sympathetic nervous system, that fight, flight, freeze. All of our energy is going to our arms and our legs. Nothing is really going to our trunk, and all the organs that need support are kind of being ignored when we're in that sympathetic nervous system. So digestion is a really common health challenge that's related to chronic stress, but we also have increased inflammation, increased pain, and so many other things, fatigue, skin challenges. There's just a whole variety of things that happen because of chronic stress. And when we make stress management a priority, so many things start to clear up in the physical body. It's really one of the best things that you guys can do for your overall health is manage your stress. So let's talk a little bit more about stress. Look at this poor little hamster. Let me know if you guys want to unmute or pop it in the chat. What are some ways stress shows up for you? Is it a skin? I know for me, my skin gets itchy. Like my scalp gets itchy. I definitely get tired. I overeat. What are some ways? Overeating, Stephanie. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. For sure. Yeah. So there's definitely lots of ways that stress can show up for us. Some people stop eating. Some people, like I mentioned before, start to have a lot of digestive issues. I was talking to a mom yesterday who noticed her son, I think is 12, and he is not digesting his food. He never feels full. And she's taken him to a acupuncture, I think, who said that there's nothing going on in his digestive organs. He's eating and eating and eating, but his body's not able to absorb. He's stuck in this fight, flight, freeze in that sympathetic nervous system, and he's not gaining any weight. It's just not a very good situation. So yeah, for sure. Inflammation, headaches. Yes. When we have increased inflammation in the body, increased cortisol, inflammation, pain definitely can magnify and intensify. Breathing issues. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of different physical manifestations of stress. So it's really important for us to be aware. Anxiety. Yeah. Okay. So guys, today I want you to have a very open mind. Sleep issues. Yes, Patricia. Oh, for sure. Yeah. So have an open mind today. When you are learning something new and you're coming to the plate with a lot of prior knowledge, sometimes it can interfere with our ability to just learn something new that could potentially serve us in a really big way. One of my mentors always says, he's like, you come to the plate, anytime you're coming to the table to learn something new, leave everything you know behind. Leave it all behind and come with an open mind. Because like you see here, when you have a cup that's already full and you're putting something new in there, it's just going to pour out the sides. So come with an open mind tonight. It's really important to not think, I already know this. I already know this. Let's make this masterclass something that is super hands-on for you. And I really want you to think about how can something that I learned today help me in some way, okay? Even if it's just enhancing something you're already doing, making what you're already doing even better. Okay, that's a really important, like a powerful thing to think about too. You don't have to change a lot of stuff that you're doing, but maybe you can make something a little bit stronger or a little bit more supportive. So I discovered there are 3 types of women who commit to this type of work, this healing work. And there is one you absolutely want to avoid. So we have the student. The student is so good at learning everything, right? And I, this is definitely where I default to. I love to learn all the things, but the student is constantly learning, and she's not really implementing what she's learned. So she might come to the webinar tonight or come to this masterclass, have pages of notes, but tomorrow life is just as it always was. She's not implementing anything that she's learning. Then we have the dabbler. The dabbler learns bits and pieces here and there, tries a couple things, but never sticks to anything long enough for something to really be effective and to really change her life. So she might do yoga each week. She might have a journal that she writes in every once in a while, but nothing is consistent enough where it's really making a profound change in her life. And then we have the diligent woman, maybe I would say. I couldn't figure out how to phrase that, but this is the person who is super diligent about her self-care and her wellness practice. But often this type of woman is still a little confused about exactly what she can do to make changes in her life. I find a lot of times with this woman, she has everything set in place. She's marking off all the boxes, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, everything is there. But there are certain things that she's either avoiding to go deep into certain issues because she's scared. A lot of times there's fear in really going into the challenges that she knows are kind of the root cause or contributing to a lot of her challenges, her struggles. So she's kind of very surface level in a lot of things. However, because she has these practices in place and she's very committed, sometimes it's the smallest shifts in what she's already doing that creates massive momentum for her to really reach her goals and get to where she wants to be. So think about where you fall in the categories. Are you the student? Are you the dabbler? Or are you diligent? And as we go through our class today, think about how you can improve something that you're already doing. And I'll talk a lot about this in our class. Simple is always best. It's always best because the best strategy is the strategy that you do consistently. So you can have the best tools under your belt, but if you're not doing them, it's just you're not going to change. You're not going to have the results that you want. So we want to keep things simple. And as I mentioned before, this doesn't have to be super complicated. Okay, so do you want a super easy way to ditch your stress? Give me a thumbs up or a type in the chat. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, guys, the easiest way to shift your body from the sympathetic nervous system, that fight, flight, freeze, to the parasympathetic, rest, digest, healing, that really supportive emotional state is to breathe. So there's a couple ways that we want to breathe in order to really optimize and support our body. And that's dropping your breath into your belly. Okay, so I learned this technique from, if let's see, I think I have her book. I usually always have it next to me, but I think it's on my shelf. Dr. Belisa Vranich. I came across her at a workshop November of 2018. I think she was doing a workshop. She was leading a workshop on how to breathe. It was for combat veterans and how to breathe through trauma. And I was so blown away by her presentation and the simplicity of breathing, but also the power of breathing in an anatomically correct way, the power that the breath has on the healing process. And one of the things that she describes in depth in her book, Breathe, is the importance of dropping your breath into your belly. So she calls this the rock and roll technique. So let's practice this together. If you're sitting, you want to just make sure that your back isn't leaning against the back of the chair, or you can do this standing, where you want to make sure, pay attention to your legs and your feet. Make sure that your feet are, grounded on the floor. They're flat on the floor. You have a stable base. And when you inhale, okay, you kind of think about like arching your back a little bit. Maybe you gaze, you look up towards the ceiling or towards the sky or wherever you are, and you put your shoulders back a little bit and you think about filling your belly with air. Okay, so think about filling your belly with air on the inhale. Okay, then when you exhale, you think about rocking your pelvis forward a little bit. You can think about bringing your belly button into your spine and rounding your back. Okay. If you do yoga, this is very much like the cat-cow position. You can be in the tabletop, or you can even be, just sitting down at your desk and kind of do this, pose. But you want to synchronize this. You want to inhale and think about really expanding your belly with air. And then on the exhale, you want to think about, bringing that belly button to your spine, but exhaling fully. She talks a lot in her book about how so many of us are lazy exhalers. So we're walking around. First of all, we're not breathing correctly. Most of us get taller as we take a deep breath. So we're breathing with our secondary muscles, our neck, our shoulders, our upper back. So that's why a lot of people have a lot of tension here, because they're using these muscles to breathe instead of using their lungs, their diaphragm, their belly, right? And so when we have all this stale air floating around in our lungs, we're depriving our body of a lot of oxygen. And when we deprive our body of oxygen, when we're not breathing in a way that's optimizing the way our body is meant to breathe, we have a lot more pain, right? We have a lot more pain in our body when our muscles are oxygen deprived. So just being intentional about your breath can be a huge, huge support in processing, releasing, and managing your stress, okay? And then we're going to make this even better, because we're going to do a tap and breathe technique. So this is one of the most simple things that I teach people as an EFT practitioner. All of my clients are very familiar with the tap and breathe technique and the different ways we can do this, because it's really one of the best ways and simplest ways to totally reset our body, our nervous system, to slow down our heart rate, to help our body shift from that sympathetic nervous system, right? That fight, flight, freeze, to the parasympathetic, where our body can rest, digest, and heal, and to really support our body in making that shift so that our own, self-healing process is activated, right? And we can really dial in to our body's ability to heal. So, all right, does anybody have any questions about the breathing technique, that rock and roll? Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, so I think, Patricia, I'm thinking you might be asking how to spell Dr. Belisa Branish's name. So I just put that in the chat. Okay, cool. So we are going to use this rock and roll breathing technique with some tapping. So we're going to start by tapping on the karate chop point. This is where we usually, oh, thank you, Vanessa. Yeah, this is really an awesome breathing technique. We're going to start by tapping on the karate chop point on the side of the hand. And I want you to just take a deep breath as you are tapping on this point. So remember, inhale, fill your belly with air. Exhale. Belly button to spine, really focusing on exhaling as much of that air as you can. And again, inhale and exhale. We're going to go to the top of the head. We're going to take a nice deep breath on this point as well. Inside of the eyebrow, take another nice deep breath. Inside of the eye, nice deep breath. Now, one thing I want to mention here is if at any point you start to feel a little bit dizzy or a little bit lightheaded, first I want you to know it's pretty normal. It's pretty common to experience that in this tap and breathe process, at least the first time. However, of course, I do not want you to feel dizzy or lightheaded in any way. So if you're starting to feel a little bit dizzy or a little bit lightheaded, maybe because you've been living in a very stressed or anxious state for a long time and your body just hasn't been getting as much oxygen. What I want you to do is I want you to either stop the breathing for now or breathe on every other point or every third point. Okay, so you're not going to be taking a deep breath on every point. You can skip a point or even skip 2 points. Okay. Under the eye, nice deep breath. And also notice as we're doing this, if your ability to take a deep breath is getting better. Okay, so I notice for me, usually around this point, I can take a much deeper breath. You know, I notice that it's easier for me to take a deep breath. It doesn't feel as shallow, but notice that for you. Okay, do you notice that it's getting easier for you? And maybe you don't, and that's totally okay as well. So let's take a nice deep breath here. And another deep breath. Another nice deep breath. And one more nice deep breath. Okay. And now what I want you to do is I want you to inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale. Bring your arms down. So let's do this again. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale. And one more time. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale. Okay. So let me check in with you guys. Actually, before we do that, let's just rub our hands together. Hands over your chest and check in with your body right now. Just notice how your body feels. Okay. All right. Why don't you guys put in the chat, how are you feeling right now after doing some intentional breathing? And also breathing with your belly, which is so important. My heart feels happy. Oh, that's awesome, Patricia. Very, very cool. So an interesting thing about breathing. Oh, like I just had a massage. Oh, Vanessa, that's awesome. Awesome. One of the interesting things about breathing is that when you're lying flat on your back, so let's say you're going to bed, you're lying flat on your back, your body has to breathe in the anatomically correct way. So when you, oh, Stephanie, oh man, okay. Yeah, I should have put myself on the full screen. So I'm sorry that you were struggling to see the exact points. Okay. Are you familiar at all with tapping? They are just a little bit. Okay. The points, let me stop sharing for a minute. Okay. So the points are, so we usually have, the karate chop. We start here on the side of the hand, and then the top of the head. There's not, like, you can't really do this wrong. Okay. So there are certain points that, that there is a process. There are points that we tap on, but if you're in the ballpark, it's still going to be effective. Okay. It's not like there's one particular teeny tiny spot that you have to tap on. Then we typically, inside the eyebrow here, side of the eye, under the eye, nose, under the nose, chin, and then here, like in the middle of your chest, you can also collarbone point here. There's also a point here, which we didn't get to today, but there's a lot of tapping points. And then there's one under the arm, which is about where, your bra is. There's points, on the side of the fingers, on the wrist, on the back of the neck. So yeah, there are the points that we did here, top of the head, and then the face, and the chest, and the arm. Those are the basic points that we use. Okay, cool. Yeah. So sorry about that. All right. So when we breathe, so when we're laying down flat on our back, our body has to breathe in the perfect way. And it's really interesting that children, until they're about 6 years old, breathe perfectly. Like if you look at little babies when they're sleeping, everyone sees, right? Those big bellies, they get bigger and then they fall. They rise and they fall, and they rise and they fall. Or if you look at a little baby or a toddler, you see they have that big belly, right? You can see it moving as they're breathing. And when kids get to about 6 years old, they start to learn the incorrect way to breathe. And a lot of it is because they're watching us. So it's really interesting. My son is going to be 5 in like 2 weeks. And if I say, take a deep breath, he will physically go like this. Like he gets taller as he's breathing. But if I watch him, if he's standing, or if he's like, looking at something or playing with something, I can see that he's breathing correctly. I can see that belly grow, the belly expands and then contracts and expands and contracts. But he's learning through society, through the world, that we breathe like this. So at some point, you know, if he's not very aware of it, he will start to breathe vertically instead of horizontally. My daughter, she breathes incorrectly, unfortunately. You know, we have to do a lot of, like for cross country, when she was running cross country, we did a lot of work on breathing with her belly, especially before a race. And, you know, and it really, really, really helped. She didn't have any cramps or anything like that. So being really intentional about how we're breathing and checking in with ourselves as often as we can and retraining our body to breathe with our belly, it's totally, totally possible. It's 100% possible to retrain our body, but it just takes awareness, especially at first, to think about dropping the breath. And especially as we get stressed and our breathing gets shallower and our body's tighter, it's harder to breathe with our belly. And a lot of times, I don't know if anybody noticed, like they're in between their ribs, those tiny little muscles in between your ribs, if it almost hurt to take a deep breath, or if you physically felt like you couldn't take a deep breath, that's also really common. Where, you know, I ask somebody to drop their breath to their belly, and if they're struggling with a lot of anxiety, sometimes they can't. Like their ribs are so tight that their lungs literally cannot expand with a deep breath. So if that's the case, then what we did here, you know, inhale, reach your arms up, exhale, bring your arms down, but also really gentle stretches to the side like this are going to help stretch out the muscles. And do this very gently. You do not want to overstretch, especially at first, but that will actually help your body be able to physically take a deeper breath, because the muscles that your body needs in order to take a deep breath are now functioning a lot better. They're a lot looser. So that's one thing to think about. And in Dr. Belisa's book, there are so many really incredible ways that you can really support your body in taking a deep breath. But for now, again, the simplest thing is best. So if it's just intentional breathing, you know, 3 to 6 deep breaths throughout the day. Sometimes people have a timer, a reminder on their phone. And at certain points of the day, there's just a reminder that pops up that says, breathe, you know, and you get the reminder, pause and take a few deep breaths. This is really the easiest way to shift our body from, you know, remember that sympathetic nervous system, that fight, flight, freeze, to the parasympathetic, the rest, digest, heal. So just taking some deep breaths. The tapping, EFT, is an amazing support to the breathing. It's an incredible way to kind of make that breathing even more supportive and beneficial for your body. So if you want to add that in as well, I think that's a really, really awesome idea. A lot of people use the shower, their shower time, as their stress management, their self-care, and they'll do the tap and breathe as they're taking a shower. You know, and their conditioner is setting or whatever, you know, they have a minute to wait. They do this tap and breathe. Or sometimes people are sitting at a red light and they create this routine of using that time at the red light to tap and breathe, or to just pause and take a few intentional breaths. Sometimes like people will, you know, anytime they check their text message, they'll pause and take a deep breath. Or anytime they sit down to check their email in the morning, pause, take a few deep breaths. So think right now in your day and with your busy life and your schedule, when can you pause and take a deep breath during the day? And maybe you want to pop it in the comments, pop it in the chat as well. What is something that you do every single day? It's part of your routine already, but you can make that even better. You can attach your stress management to this thing that you do every day, whether it's, you know, as you're making your coffee, or when you're taking your dog outside. Okay, think about when you can add in some intentional breathing. Yeah, brushing your teeth. It might be hard. Well, before you brush your teeth, you could pause, take a deep breath. Maybe after you brush your teeth, you could pause, take a deep breath. But yeah, definitely. There's definitely a way that you can attach your stress management to your, to that activity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. While making breakfast. Yeah. Walking the dog. Yeah. Patricia, before you, let me see if I can read this whole thing. Before a meal. Yes. So before a meal is an amazing time to do this intentional breathing, because remember, when you're in that sympathetic nervous system, your digestion is not working as well as it can be, as well as it should be, right? Because all this energy is going to your external limbs, your arms and your legs, right? Got to outrun that tiger. So your digestion is not an essential part of your survival. So your body is shutting down that function. So if you're in that state of chronic stress and that sympathetic nervous system, pausing to take a few deep breaths before you eat a meal is going to be an incredible support for your body. So I love that idea. That's a great idea. Yeah. It's funny, Nick Ortner, the author of The Tapping Solution, he said in one of his books, the easiest way to lose weight is to tap before every single meal. He's like, if people tapped before every meal, they would be drastically reducing the amount of cortisol in the body, which is going to drastically improve their body's ability to digest the food. Even so, he was like describing eating a cupcake. If you eat a cupcake when you're stressed, the calories and the fat and everything in the cupcake are going to do a lot more damage to your body than if you eat a cupcake and your body is in a state where it's functioning well, right? So the calories of eating a cupcake when you're stressed are so much more. The damage, if you want to say like the damage of that cupcake, is so much greater if you're eating it stressed than if you're eating it and you're not feeling guilty, you don't feel ashamed, you're not hiding it, right? You're just enjoying it. So I always think about that too. But yeah, if you can attach the yeah, Vanessa, it's amazing what our emotions can do to our physical, our physical health. So, all right. So 3 secrets to self-care and stress management. The secret number 1, it does not have to be hard. It does not have to be hard. Think about how you can bring stress management, breathing. How can you bring this into your everyday life? Okay. One of the things I loved to do when I was teaching and I was always, walking around on my feet was I would attach my stress management to walking. So I would think about, taking 4 or 5 steps, and I would inhale, and then I would kind of suspend my breath for a few steps. And then on the exhale, or on the next, let's say 5 or 6 steps, I would exhale. So it's like I'm inhaling, holding my breath, exhaling. And I would count, as I was walking, I would count the number of steps, and I would try to exhale a little bit longer than I inhaled, because remember what we learned before, right? I wanted to get that stale air out from, just hanging around in my lungs. So if you make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale, it can really help to put your body in that really optimal healing state, but also it can activate your relaxation response. But you can attach breathing to even walking, walking your dog, walking to your car, things like that. So it does not have to be hard. And it does not have to take so much time, right? A lot of times we we're so busy as it is. It's hard for us to add another thing to our plate, but we don't want self-care and stress management to not be the thing we do, like to be the thing that we don't do, the thing that doesn't get done. So think about how can you bring this into your everyday routine? It does not have to take much time. And there's not like, you got to do this for 5 minutes for it to be effective, or you have to do this, you have to take 6 deep breaths for it to be effective. That's not true. You want to make this work for you. If you're feeling better, if you notice a shift in your emotional or your physical state, that is awesome. Celebrate that win. You are doing something amazing for your body. And then secret number 3, there's no perfect way to get this right. Okay, there's no perfect way to get this right. If you are putting yourself first, if you're committing to making you a priority, that is awesome. Totally, totally awesome. Okay, so the number one reason why people don't continue this work, they don't have a plan. They try something for a little bit, and then they stop. And they try something else for a little bit, and then they stop. But they're not consistent with something. So it's important to find something that works for you, that find something that you enjoy doing, and then to stick to that, make that part of your everyday routine. And I have to tell you guys, for me, for a long time, I was definitely not somebody who could stick to a plan. Like I always thought in my head, oh, well, I'm just spontaneous. I just like to go with the flow. Like I'll let the day kind of move me in whatever direction. But that didn't really serve me very well. Now I have a very intentional plan on what I do at different parts of the day. It's interesting. I've been reading this book. One of my favorite mentors, his name is Jim Quick, and he talks a lot about the brain, having the limitless brain, and learning new things is important. So in his book, Limitless, he talks about how when you change something, even slightly, something that you do every day, if you change it just slightly, you are activating you're making new connections in your brain. So he says, brush your teeth in the morning with your non-dominant hand, And so every single morning for the last couple of weeks, I've been brushing with my non-dominant hand. Now it feels totally normal. Like now I don't even realize that I'm doing it, but sometimes we have to do things for a long enough time where they really start to stick and where we really start to feel the results. Right? I used to have a gratitude journal that I was really committed to. And then for like 2 years, I stopped. And about 2 months ago, I picked it up again. And it's literally an appointment in my planner. It's an appointment just like anything else. And I commit to doing that every single day. Now it's part of my practice, right? I have 3 things that I do every single morning. The gratitude journal is one of them, but it's part of my routine. And now I start with those things. I start with the most important things, and it sets me up for a much better day. So most people, and I know that's not you because you're here, you're listening to this, you are open-minded, and you're the type of person who is interested in doing something different and getting different results. But a lot of people don't have a plan, and it's sad because they try things and then they just never stick to it long enough for it to really take effect, to really have that result. Okay, so we talked about letting go of stress, but what's the second thing that we can do to really support our body? Does anybody know or want to make a guess? It is releasing repressed emotions. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you guys. Our body keeps the score. Okay, our life story becomes manifested physically in our body. So there's a saying you may have heard: our biography becomes our biology. And there's some really amazing books out there There's this book here, Overcoming Trauma Through Yoga, where different yoga poses, different movements, different ways to breathe can literally release past traumas from the body. Here, The Biology of Belief. This is a really amazing book. This is one of my newest books, which is so incredible about the, it's called The Epidemic of Mind-Body Disorders by Dr. Sarno. It's incredible what happens in our physical body when we do not release emotions. Okay, when we don't release emotions, when they're stuck, when they're trapped, maybe it's completely unintentional, completely subconscious, the physical manifestation can be really, really challenging. And it can really create some very challenging disease and illness in our body. So when we can release repressed emotions, everything just feels so much brighter, and our body can often respond in really incredible ways. So I'm gonna share a couple stories of everyday people just like you who have had some pretty amazing results when they released repressed emotions. So here's one of my clients. She had a chronic cough and she never realized it was connected to a fear of speaking up and standing up for herself. So as we were working through, some of these beliefs, some of these stories, some of these events in her life, her cough started to clear up. She had this for over 20 years. So really incredible result here. This is one of my newest students in one of my group programs. She was doing the tap and rant technique, which is literally exactly how it sounds. She was tapping and she was ranting. She was just letting whatever she was thinking flow, okay? And she talks about here, when she was done, her back felt so much better. Like just getting out what was on her mind helped her body feel better. And then at the end, right, she was able to bend down and actually put her socks on, which was a big win for her. So again, releasing those repressed emotions. This is one of my favorite stories. An 18 months old, this little boy had 2 open heart surgeries and developed a trauma, developed a fear of people being able to touch, like people touching his nose. And after 2 sessions, we released that trauma and his mom was able to wipe his boogers. That was a huge win. So again, that story, that trauma, that event can get stored in our body and can manifest in physical ways. So that was a really neat thing as well. So for me, my daughter here, you see her on the right, she was born prematurely, 2 months early, was in the NICU for a long time. As a new mom, right, it was very traumatic. It was very, very hard that first year. And all the emotions that I had as a result of that, I did not process, I did not release. I didn't even know at the time that this was a thing, right? That our story actually manifests physically. And about a year later, and it's very common that these physical manifestations are not immediate. Sometimes it can take 7 years or longer for them to manifest, for these emotions to manifest in a physical way. But about a year later, when all my symptoms were starting and nobody could figure this out, I had to kind of connect the dots and put this together. And I was able to work through that event and work through those emotions, and my body cleared up. My symptoms were gone. And it was really life-changing to let those emotions go with no judgment, right? No shame, no judgment, no guilt. Just let them go. Let them see the light. Let them have air. Give them a voice. And then see ya, let them free. And it's really incredible how our body responds to that. So most of us want, this clear path, this, I'm here, I want to get there. Tell me exactly what to do. And we know healing doesn't happen like that. We know that there's a windy path. We know that we have breakthroughs and we have breakdowns. But there are certainly ways that we can, that I can support you in moving forward down, towards your goal and towards your wellness journey. So let's do a visualization. I want you to think about, what life would look like for you if you let go of some of these old wounds that could be holding you back from living your best life. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just do a quick visualization. And I want you to kind of drop into a meditative state. So 1 second, I'm just going to grab a drink of water. You might want to rub your hands together, put your hands over your chest, bring your attention to your hips, your legs, your feet, your center of, or your source of stability, safety. Ground yourself in the present moment. Really connect with your body. Take a nice deep breath. Okay. And picture this in your mind. It's a sunny, beautiful day with the perfect temperature. When you look up at the sun, you feel its warmth on your face. You're walking down a gravel path and you hear the birds chirping. You feel the light breeze moving across your cheek. You smell beautiful flowers, and all your senses are alive. You see a creek up ahead. The water is gently flowing. You see some fish, maybe a few frogs, leaves floating along the water. And you walk up to the edge. You can hear the birds chirping. You can feel that breeze again. You cup your hands together. And in your hands, you put a memory or a trouble or a problem that you're having, something you want to let go of. And you look down and you see this challenge, this struggle, this worry. And you say goodbye. You're not sad, not angry, but you say goodbye and you toss it into the creek. You watch it slowly float away. Then you take your hands and you cup them again. And you put another worry or challenge or struggle into your hands. And you do the same thing. When you're ready, you say goodbye. Toss it into the creek. And you let that you watch it slowly float away. And you do that one more time. You cup your hands together. You put inside your hands your worry, your challenge, an old wound. And when you're ready, you say goodbye. You can even thank it. Thank you for keeping me safe for so long. Thank you for always being there. Whatever words you feel like you'd like to say to this thing. And when you're ready, you toss it into the creek and you watch that slowly float away. Now you're at the point where the water is slowly disappearing. You say goodbye to all the worries that you tossed into the stream. You raise your arms up to the sky. You take a deep breath. You notice how much lighter your shoulders feel. You might want to roll your shoulders back a few times. And then you turn and you continue to walk down the path. And you start to notice up ahead this beautiful field. And that field represents your future. We're going to walk to the edge of the field. And I want you to put your hands on your chest. And I want you to notice what you see in this field. What does your future look like? How does your body feel in the future? How are your relationships? What does this look like for you? And I want you to really hold on to this vision. Bring this vision right into your heart. And feel that emotion. So what feeling do you have right now? Do you feel love? Do you feel excitement and energy? Do you feel peace or calm or empowered? And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes, bring your attention to your feet, maybe wiggle your toes. Come back to the present moment. Maybe rub your hands together. Take a deep breath. And let's chat for a minute. What did your future, what did it look like? Just trying to look at my, how do you feel right now? Empowered. Oh, good. Very good. Awesome. Good. Love that. Okay. So, oh, this was supposed to be the picture for the visualization. Sorry. Okay. That's this back. Okay. So let's talk about next steps. So for a lot of people, they become very interested in managing their stress and starting the healing process when they have an uncomfortable symptom. That's often the number one reason, hey, I need to start doing something. I need to start figuring out how to manage my stress. And that might resonate with you. But I want to empower you right now to not wait until you need it, right? Start now. Start healing. Start breathing more intentionally. Start bringing this into your everyday routine, making it part of who you are. Like, I'm the mom that has a very consistent practice for self-care. Like, I'm the type of mom who commits to putting myself first because it's going to I'm going to show up in a much better way for my family, for my kids. Or I'm the type of person who, make this part of your identity, part of who you are and what you do. And think about what can I start doing a little bit differently so that I can start on the path of really experiencing the health that I deserve, the energy that I deserve, the life that I deserve, right? And remember, old habits are going to keep you from your potential. So it's easy for us to default into old habits, but I want to encourage you, right? You are not that person who's going to go back to doing everything exactly the same as you always did, because you know that's going to get you the same results that you always got, right? I want you to think, what can I change? What can I do a little bit differently where I start to make myself a priority? Because that's going to impact everything else in my life. So think about that. And you can pop it in the chat if you want. What's one thing that you're going to do a little bit differently tomorrow that's going to help you better manage your stress and start healing things that maybe you had no idea even needed to be healed? So think about, and it could be the tiniest thing, like brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand after you take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath before you brush your teeth, brush with your non-dominant hand, take another deep breath. That could be something that you do for the next 30 days. But those tiny little shifts are going to add up to massive changes in the long run. It's really a matter of small shifts. Okay, so are you going to commit to doing something a little different? I hope so. I can't see anybody, but I hope that you guys are giving me a thumbs up, because you are so important. And this work is so important for all of us to do. Patricia, I have a specific routine in the morning, starting with a meditation. Awesome. Very, very, very awesome. I'm so glad that you have that. Awesome. Yes. Very cool. Okay. And then I want to just share, if you are interested in taking your healing to the next level. So, you were attracted to this training, you came to this class, you spent an hour with me, which is awesome, for a reason, right? I want to share with you guys a couple ways that you can continue this support if you're interested. So I have four options that I just want to share with you guys, if that is okay. So the first thing is there's definitely ways that I can support you one-to-one over a 10-week period. I have a 10-week package that's a really intensive healing process that we do together using my healing breakthrough process. I also have a group that's starting in January where we're going to be working as a group through the 10-week healing intensive, the healing breakthrough process as well. I have, if you are more interested right now in a group, in a community, in being part of a community of women who are all interested in, learning how to better manage their stress, learning how to heal using alternative, modalities like EFT, Reiki, breathing. There is the Holistic Sisterhood that I founded with my business partner, Gianna Burke, where that's another option, that you are definitely invited. And we have a 7-day free trial for that. If anybody's interested in joining or learning more, you can come join us. You can check it out. All of the trainings in the libraries and our live calls and things like that, you are more than welcome to. And then if you are like, I'm ready to go all in, I am ready to dive into this healing process in a huge way, then I also am really excited to share Vanessa, who's actually here on the call. Vanessa is one of the most gifted healers I have ever seen in my entire life. And I started a healing intensive process with her 3 months ago, and I've gone through the process twice. There's another opportunity starting this weekend to go through the process again, which I'm super excited about. But every time I go through her 7-day healing intensive process, it has been mind-blowing, the breakthroughs that I've been having. And so we have partnered together, and I can definitely offer you guys and share that information if you're interested in signing up for the healing intensive. That's for the person who's like, oh yes, I am so ready. Like, I'm not going to waste any more time. Life is too precious. Life is too short. I want to dive in deep to this healing work. And I want to learn so many ways that I can improve my boundaries, improve my relationship, heal parts of me that I had no idea even needed to be healed, and experience some pretty incredible shifts with that. So I know this is probably a lot of information for right now. What I would love to do with everybody who's on the call is I would love to invite you guys to jump on a call with me over the next few days. And I can really share with you some of the ways you can receive additional support. I'll share with you Vanessa's program if you're ready for that. And I can share with you guys these other opportunities as well. I'll include everything in the email that I'll send out later today with a link to the replay, so you guys can check it out. And then, you know, be really honest with yourself. Where are you right now? You might be at the point right now where you are really focused on setting up your consistent practice. You know, like, I need to set up my consistent practice. You might be at the point right now where you're like absolutely ready for a healing intensive. I'm ready to either sign up for the 10-week package or sign up for the 7-day intensive with Vanessa. You'll see me in the group as well, because I will totally be there. But it's an amazing thing. But, you know, be really honest with yourself, be really vulnerable with yourself. What is your level of commitment right now in doing this work? And then remember, it's really hard to do this work on our own. It's really hard to do this work on our own. But you don't have to hold the weight. You don't have to bear the weight of all your struggles on your own. You know, being part of a community, having the support and the environment to really help you through this process can be incredibly powerful. And there's a lot of options that we have where, you know, you're able to feel really supported and have these major shifts and these major breakthroughs. So I'm so excited to share these opportunities with you guys. I'm so grateful that you guys came and joined me tonight on this call. This was so much fun. I'm just going to open up the floor to anybody who wants to share either a big takeaway that they had, if anybody has a question. And I'd love to hear, you know, what you guys are going to do differently, you know, what you guys are going to start adding into your life to really make you a priority and to make stress management important, you know, a part of your routine. And Vanessa, yes, I'm so excited that we have this opportunity to collaborate, because it's just a whole different level of breakthrough that I've experienced in the last couple months. So, all right, Patricia, I will definitely send you an email and we'll hop on a call. Cool. Stephanie, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Sorry, we went a little bit over our time, so I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know Vanessa has got her little one who is probably watching along with us. So tell your little one I said hi, for a little wave. But thank you guys all for being here with me tonight. And I can't wait to support you and help you discover what a next step could be for you to really help you through the process. So, all right, everyone, have an awesome night. And I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll see you around in the group, and I'll definitely communicate through email. I'll send you guys an email later tonight with the recording and additional information. All right, everyone. See you later. Thank you so much for stopping.